What a crazy week we've had. In the last week, not only did we have a jobs report released, not only do we have news when it comes to the stock market, but the major thing was a massive fallout between Donald Trump and Elon Musk. We also have news on how this relates to both the economy as well as Elon Musk's own company, Tesla. And that's what we're going to cover in today's video. Welcome to my second channel where we talk about finance and economics in a much more relaxed setting. As always, my name is Derek and I got my degree in finance. You don't have to. Let's start with the big thing, okay? Let's start with the fun. I guess fun is one word for it. Crazy is another word for it. But let's start with the popcorn news, right? Grab your popcorn and we'll go over this. Then we'll cover the jobs report and my opinions, how this is going to relate to the stock market and to the Federal Reserve. So first and foremost, Elon Musk and Donald Trump, who were both political allies and financial allies, have had a massive fallout. Now, this is because Elon Musk, really this started because Elon Musk hates Donald Trump's tax bill. Donald Trump has called his tax bill the Big Beautiful Bill, or the One Big Beautiful Bill. And Musk instead called it the Big Ugly Bill. This started this just back and forth between the two. I mean, Elon Musk pinned a tweet from Donald Trump from 2013 where Trump himself is saying how, as a conservative, he's embarrassed that conservatives in 2013 were trying to raise the debt ceiling, which of course is exactly what his own bill, his own tax bill, will do now. It also highlights the fact that we've been raising the debt ceiling for like decades. But of course, Trump rebutted this and basically said that Elon Musk probably has Trump derangement syndrome. Elon Musk didn't like this, so he then said that Trump is lying and that Trump only won the election because of Elon Musk's support. I mean, this back and forth has led us to just a couple of days ago where Elon Musk publicly stated that the reason why the Epstein files haven't been released is because Donald Trump is on them. This has just been ridiculous. Now, it highlights a couple of things. One, financially, it highlights how, look, whether I agree with what Doge has done or not, regardless of Elon Musk's ulterior motives or backroom dealings, on the surface, he has been pretty clear in his message, which is to cut costs. Now, I've been critical of how Doge went about doing this, but it makes sense that he doesn't like this bill. Now, so it highlights the fact that, look, this tax bill does increase the deficit by trillions. It does increase, the national debt by trillions. It increases the budget deficit by hundreds of billions of dollars every single month. And it makes permanent tax cuts for wealthy individuals while throwing the average American population a bone, right? No taxes on tips, no taxes on overtime pay, kind of, and I've made videos on that, but those expire in 2028. So you have this feud between Donald Trump and Elon Musk. Now, this initially caused Elon Musk's Tesla stock to crash. The moment this whole thing started, Tesla stock was down 10% for the day. It has since recovered. It also kind of threw a wrench in the stock market because we're all aware the stock market hates one thing more than anything else, and that is uncertainty. So when you have the literal leader of the free world, the most powerful man on the planet, arguing and bickering with the richest person on the planet, so you have the president, an elected official, bickering with a private billionaire citizen. Of course, that's going to cause ripple effects through the stock market. With that said, to close out the week on Friday, we had a jobs report and a jobs report release. And analyst expectations, this is where we can start talking about some like actual things that matter. Analyst expectations for this was about 120,000 or so jobs, 126,000 jobs. Added was the consensus estimate. This actually came in higher. It came in at 139,000 jobs added for the economy. Now, this overall is honestly perfect, and that is why the stock market reacted well. The Dow Jones was up close to 500 points at the time of this recording, and the S&P 500 was up over 1%. Now, why is this perfect? Well, because it's for two main reasons. The first is that this jobs report didn't come in too high. Okay, because that, believe it or not, is a possibility. It also didn't come in too low. Now, what do I mean by that? Well, if this jobs report had come in, let's say with like 300,000, 250,000 jobs added, something just insane, for the Federal Reserve, it means that the economy is heating up too much, okay, which obviously the Federal Reserve doesn't want either, because when you have a very hot economy, you also have risk of inflation. Remember, the Federal Reserve has a dual mandate. They want price stability and maximum employment. So if you get way too hot of a job reading, for the Federal Reserve, that's going to signal, hey, this economy might be heating up too much. That causes them further pause when it comes to interest rate cuts, or in a drastic scenario, even a consideration of an interest rate increase. That didn't happen. Okay, you also have the other side, which is arguably worse, but that would be a very bad jobs report coming in under analyst expectations, like under, say, like under 100,000. I mean, if it came in at under 100,000, that means the exact opposite. That means that the economy is actually potentially contracting or getting ready to contract, or the job market is weakening too much. Now, that it could be argued that that is kind of what is needed for the Federal Reserve to cut interest rates, because the Federal Reserve has still not cut interest rates. And I have said many times on this channel, as well as the main channel, by the way, if you want more edited content, the main channel is just my name, Derek Polishek. I post there weekly, and the content, more graphs, more screenshots on the screen. It's much more edited, so definitely check that out. But I've said many times on both channels that I, for the most part, have supported the Federal Reserve's decision to hold interest rates steady. This is primarily because of inflation readings that have been higher than expected, plus Trump's tariff policies. I mean, it's still not really known if tariffs are going to actually even be implemented, although it's seemingly less and less likely that they're going to be implemented in a blanket fashion. I mean, it's looking more like this was I don't want to say attention grabbing, but attention grabbing or media attention or some sort of negotiation strategy from the administration. So I've mostly supported the Federal Reserve's decision. I do think that it is time for them to start considering at least one interest rate, FFR, federal funds rate cut within the next few meetings. And I'm not saying that we have to go down to 2% on the FFR or even lower. I just think that there's data showing and evidence that there's actually a split going on right now inside the Federal Reserve when it comes to Federal Reserve governors and whether they think the Federal Reserve should keep interest rates higher for longer or cut them. And I'm starting to share that sentiment. I think it's becoming obvious that, one, inflation readings are actually coming in a little bit, they're getting closer to our target of 2%. In fact, European central banks just begun cutting process of interest rates because inflation there is expected to come in under their target rate of 2%. So I think it's time to start playing with that idea. Now, does it have to be quick? No. But I think, at least a quarter point cut over the next few meetings might be something that is reasonable, and we'll have to see how Jerome Powell, what his thoughts are at the next meeting. Now, that's the next thing I want to talk about before wrapping this video up when it comes to the stock market. The next Federal Reserve meeting is just in a few days. By the time I post this video, probably like 7 or 8 days. At that meeting, they're not going to cut rates. Right now, if you check out the CME Fed Watch tool, it's a great thing to keep an eye on. It basically tracks the odds of an interest rate cut. I mean, it's basically near 100%. It's like 99% chance that the Federal Reserve won't cut interest rates. And that is because of the most recent jobs report. It came in smack right in the level where it needed to come in for them not to do anything, basically. Because if it comes in too high, they're going to be, do we need to actually raise interest rates? If it comes in really low, then they might actually have increased the chances. I still don't think they would have, but it may have increased the CME odds of an interest rate cut this next meeting. But it came in right where it needed to. 139,000 jobs added. They're not cutting. I mean, it would be a black swan, or maybe not that, but you know what I mean. It would be a very rare event if they actually cut interest rates at their next meeting. I do think that the chances increase in the following meeting, the meeting after that, especially if we get some good readings when it comes to inflation data on the CPI, as well as, remember, their preferred is a CPE, core inflation metric. So we'll have to see how the next month's reading comes in on that. But I'm sure there's internal dialogue, and I'm sure even Jerome Powell is starting to consider that as a possibility, especially now that we see that, look, tariff inflation, I've said on the main channel, I think tariff inflation is on its way. We will see tariff inflation. Is it going to be insane? No, it's not. It's going to be muted because the tariffs have also been muted, but we're going to see some form of tariff inflation. None of that seems to be affecting the job market, and the inflation is probably going to be much less, so I think they still have an opportunity to cut rates. And right before I talk about the very brief when it comes to the stock market, this is something important, okay? Not a lot of people talk about this, okay? But there's this metric called R star, okay? This is the neutral rate of interest. I've talked about this before on the main channel. This is basically a number, or an interest rate amount that is unknown, really. So basically the Federal Reserve as well as economists are trying to calculate it at any given time. But basically what this is it is a number that if the Federal Reserve held interest rates at that level, just give an example, let's say it's 4%. If they hold interest rates at 4%, then inflation will remain stable at whatever rate it currently is at, okay? And the job market will remain at maximum or will go to maximum employment, okay? So the reason why I say the Federal Reserve can cut interest rates is not because the inflation fight is over. It's because their current FFR is probably still significantly higher than R star. So even if they cut by a quarter basis point, they're probably still having an inflation fighting effect. They could probably cut a couple times, and they might still be above R star. As long as they remain above R star, or the neutral rate of interest, there is going to be some inflation fighting effect, while still at the same time, I don't want to say adding, because the job market doesn't really need relief, but at the same time, making it easier for the job market. So I'm sure these internal dialogues are happening at the Federal Reserve. We'll see what they do in the next few meetings. Okay, now I want to wrap this video up with just a couple things about the stock market. One, Tesla. Okay, I already talked about it, but Tesla tanked on this fight between Elon Musk and Donald Trump. I've said many times, I think Tesla is overvalued. And I know I might get some, people might disagree with me. I think fundamentally Tesla is overvalued. At the same time, people have called Tesla a meme stock, and I've pushed back on that. I say I don't think Tesla is a meme stock. It sure traded like a meme stock over the last week. It's traded on political drama, on political soap opera level drama. It's had huge moves up and down on political drama instead of on the fundamentals of the company. And yes, an argument could be made that there's crossover because what happens politically affects Tesla's ability to sell cars. Trump, it's not also below Trump to maybe even come after Elon Musk through Tesla somehow, right? So I understand that some of it there's carryover, but I mean, it's traded like a meme stock the last week. Now let's talk about the stock market. The stock market doesn't like uncertainty. That is very clear. This job market report was a boost for the stock market, but that's going to mellow out. The jobs market, it didn't blow expectations out of the water. It also wasn't low enough to trigger an interest rate cut, which also the stock market would have loved, right? Cheap money is good for the stock market. So I'm sure over the next few days, this effect is going to be muted. And really, the stock market is going to seesaw if we have more fighting between Elon Musk and Trump. And most recently, Trump, like I think I said at the beginning of this video, but Elon Musk said that Trump was on the Epstein files, and that's the reason why they haven't been released. So then Trump, retaliated and said that he's going to sell or give away his Tesla. Remember, he bought a Tesla like 2 months ago to show support for Elon Musk. So this has just been, this is, that's more political than it is economic, but there is bleed through. I mean, those two worlds are related, unfortunately. But it has been a ridiculous week. So if you like updates like this in a much more casual, relaxed tone, then you are in the right place. Please consider subscribing if you haven't already. I try to do videos here, weekly, every other week, sometimes twice a week. This is just my chill channel. I'm just going to post here when there's something to talk about. If you want more structured content, more edited, more, pieced together with graphs, etc., check out the main channel. That's Derek Polishek, just my name, and I do videos there weekly. With that said, I'm sure I will see you next week for some more crazy economic news because with this administration, I will tell you that. I mean, it is like it's nonstop. So I'm sure there will be something to talk about. With that said, I hope you have a fantastic rest of your week. And if I post this before the weekend, I hope you have a fantastic weekend. I don't know if I will. Regardless, hope you have a great rest of your day and a great rest of your week. And I will see you in the next one. Take care.